In the heart of Manila, surrounded by noise, traffic, and endless movement, a little boy named Liam Santos sat on a broken wooden stool beside an old piano outside a church. He was only 4 years old, his tiny hands barely stretching over the keys, but the moment his fingers touched them, everything else disappeared. The sound he created didn't belong to the streets, it belonged somewhere magical, somewhere beyond poverty and struggle. His mother, Alona, sold flowers near the church gates, glancing over often to make sure her son was safe. Every afternoon, people gathered, curious about the small boy making such beautiful music. Vendors, tricycle drivers, and passers-by stopped to listen, unable to believe that such emotion could come from a child so young. The piano was a gift from a kind old man who used to play for the church choir before passing away. Its paint was chipped, and some keys stuck, but for Liam, it was treasure. His world was simple: music in the day, stories from his mother at night. One sunny afternoon, a tourist from Ireland recorded him playing Ave Maria, while the sunset bathed his little face in gold. The man smiled and said, "You're going to be a star, little one." Liam didn't understand what star meant, but he grinned shyly. That video would change his life forever. Within a few days, the clip spread online like wildfire. People from all over the world commented on the incredible boy from Manila who played the piano like a seasoned artist. The video reached millions of views in a week. Television stations in the Philippines featured him, and reporters showed up in front of his house. His mother, overwhelmed but proud, kept repeating, "He just loves to play." That's all. Liam didn't care about cameras or fame, he just wanted to play music. But deep inside, his mother hoped this sudden attention could give her son the chance she never had, to rise above poverty. One morning, while Alona prepared breakfast, she received an email that left her speechless. It was from a producer of Ireland's Got Talent, inviting Liam to audition for their next season. She reread the message over and over, her hands trembling. Ireland was a dream far beyond their imagination, across oceans, filled with people they had never met. How could they possibly go there? But that night, when she told Liam, his eyes sparkled. "Can I play my songs for them, Mama?" he asked. She hugged him tightly, tears filling her eyes. "Yes, my love. Maybe the world will hear your heart." Word spread quickly through their neighborhood. Teachers, priests, and neighbors all wanted to help. The local school held a charity concert, and musicians from across Manila offered to perform. A news station covered their story, calling it Hope in Tiny Hands. Donations started to pour in, enough for their passports, their tickets, and even warm clothes for the cold weather they would soon face. For the first time, Alona felt like dreams could really come true. On the night before their flight, Liam practiced on a grand piano lent by a local music teacher. The keys were smooth and shiny, unlike the rough ones on his old piano. His little legs dangled off the bench, but his hands moved with grace. The teacher watched in awe as the boy played a soft, emotional melody that he had made up himself. It was beautiful and haunting at the same time, as if it told the story of every hardship they had endured. When he finished, his mother wiped her tears and whispered, "You're ready, Anik." The next morning, the sun rose over Manila as they stood at the airport, holding hands. Liam looked out the window at the airplanes taking off, his eyes wide with wonder. It was his first time leaving the country, his first time flying. He held his toy bear tightly, unaware that the world was waiting to see him. Alona prayed silently as they boarded the plane, her heart heavy but full of hope. Above the clouds, as Liam fell asleep on her lap, she smiled and whispered, "We're on our way, my little pianist. Let's show them what miracles sound like." When the plane landed in Dublin, a cold breeze brushed against Liam's cheeks. He clutched his mother's hand tightly, his eyes wide as he looked around the airport filled with strangers speaking in accents he didn't understand. Everything was new: the smell of coffee, the sparkling floors, the tall glass windows. A production assistant from Ireland's Got Talent greeted them with a warm smile and held a sign that said, "Liam Santos." They rode through the city, passing green fields and old stone buildings. Liam pressed his face against the car window, whispering, "It's so different, Mama." His mother smiled, still amazed that they had come this far. The next few days were a blur of rehearsals, interviews, and camera lights. The show's producers were astonished by Liam's gentle nature and talent. They gave him a small practice room with a polished black grand piano. The moment his fingers touched the keys, the crew went silent. The sound was pure and emotional, far beyond his years. The director whispered, "He's not just a prodigy, he's something else." But while everyone was excited, Liam felt nervous. Backstage, he saw older contestants, singers, dancers, magicians, all professionals with costumes and confidence. He hid behind his toy bear and looked up at his mother. "Mama, will they like me?" he asked quietly. She knelt, touched his cheek, and said, "Just play for God, not for them." The night of the audition, the theater was packed. The bright lights, the murmuring crowd, the judges sitting behind their table, it was overwhelming. When the host announced, "Next up, all the way from Manila, please welcome 4-year-old piano prodigy Liam Santos," the audience gasped. A tiny boy walked across the massive stage, wearing a small suit and holding his bear. He sat down carefully at the piano bench, his feet nowhere near the pedals. The hall went completely silent. One judge leaned forward, unsure what to expect. Then Liam began to play. The first notes of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata filled the air, slow and haunting. His little hands moved with surprising precision, each note flowing with emotion. But soon, he shifted into his own melody, soft, innocent, and deeply beautiful. It was a mix of what he learned from church and what he felt in his heart. The entire room froze. The camera caught tears forming in one judge's eyes, while another covered her mouth in disbelief. The audience forgot to breathe. It was not just music, it was the sound of a pure soul expressing everything he couldn't say in words. As the final note faded, there was a moment of silence, followed by an explosion of applause. The audience stood up, clapping and cheering, shouting his name. The host ran onto the stage, lifting Liam in a hug as golden confetti rained down from above. One of the judges, still crying, said into the microphone, "I've never heard something so pure in my life. You've touched every heart in this room." Liam looked over at his mother, smiling shyly. She was crying, covering her mouth, unable to believe what she was seeing. Backstage, after the performance, the judges came to meet him personally. They asked him where he learned to play, and he answered softly, "From the piano near our church in Manila." The crew members clapped again, touched by his innocence. Later that night, as they returned to their small hotel room, Liam sat by the window, staring at the stars. "Mama," he whispered, "did they like my song?" She hugged him tightly and said, "They didn't just like it, my love. You made them feel something real." For the first time, the little boy who once played for strangers on the streets of Manila had played for the world. And as he fell asleep in his mother's arms, the echoes of his music still lingered in the theater across the city, a reminder that sometimes miracles appear in the smallest hands and the simplest melodies. The morning after his performance, Liam woke up to the sound of his mother's phone ringing nonstop. When she finally answered, her eyes widened in disbelief. Reporters from across the world wanted to interview them. The video of Liam's audition had gone viral overnight. Millions of people watched and shared the clip of the tiny Filipino boy who made the judges cry. News anchors called him the miracle pianist, and celebrities posted about him, praising his heart and talent. But while everyone was celebrating, Liam remained the same shy little boy, sitting on the hotel floor playing with his toy bear. He didn't understand fame, he only understood music. His mother smiled, proud but cautious, knowing that the world's attention could be both a blessing and a burden. Ireland's Got Talent invited them back for special performances. The production team treated Liam like a star, fancy clothes, stylists, cameras following him everywhere. Yet every time he stepped onto the stage, his mind went somewhere else, back to Manila, to his old piano beside the church. During one of the interviews, a journalist asked, "Liam, what makes you happy when you play?" He smiled shyly and said, "I think about my mama smiling." That one sentence melted hearts worldwide. His humility became as admired as his music. As weeks passed, offers poured in from schools and music academies across Europe and the United States. One famous pianist from London invited him to study under his mentorship, offering a full scholarship. His mother didn't know what to say. They had come from nothing, no money, no connections, and now people were fighting to teach her son. But instead of dreaming of fame, Liam started asking questions that made her heart ache. "Mama, can my friends in Manila have pianos too? They want to learn." That night, Ilona realized that her son's gift wasn't just meant to lift them out of poverty, it was meant to inspire others. During the show's finale, Liam played One Last Time Before the World. The song was different this time, he had written it himself. It was soft, full of warmth, and carried a message of love and hope. The lights dimmed as he played, and people in the audience closed their eyes, letting the music wash over them. When he finished, there wasn't a single dry eye in the room. The host declared, "Liam Santos, you are a gift to this world." Cameras flashed, people cheered, but Liam just ran to his mother's arms. "Can we go home now, Mama?" he whispered. She kissed his forehead and said, "Yes, baby. The world already knows who you are." When they finally returned to Manila, the airport was filled with people holding banners and flowers. Reporters, fans, and local children waited hours just to see him. But Liam didn't act like a celebrity. He smiled shyly, waving his small hand, holding tightly onto his mother's arm. The mayor of Manila declared him a national young talent, and schools invited him to perform for their students. Instead of keeping the prize money for himself, Liam insisted they use part of it to buy instruments for children in poor neighborhoods. He wanted every kid to feel what he felt when he first touched the piano keys, the feeling that music could change everything. Soon, a foundation was created in his name, the Little Hands of Hope Project. It helped provide music lessons and instruments for underprivileged children. Liam visited schools and hospitals, playing songs to lift the spirits of those who needed hope the most. His kindness inspired people everywhere. He never forgot where he came from, and every time he played, it was as if he was telling his own story through music, the story of a little boy who dreamed beyond the noise of the streets. One evening, back in his old neighborhood, Liam sat at his first piano again. The keys were still chipped, the wood still faded, but the sound was as magical as ever. The local kids gathered around, listening quietly as he played the same melody that had once echoed through those streets years ago. The sun dipped behind the rooftops, painting the sky orange and gold. His mother stood nearby, smiling through tears, whispering, "You did it, my son." And as the final note hung in the air, the whole world seemed to pause, reminded that true greatness doesn't come from fame, it comes from a heart that plays for love.